He pulls on his hooded jacket and goes out the kitchen door. He figures he'll have to pay for yelling and walking out when he gets back, but he doesn't care. The rain splatters on the hood of his jacket as he circles around to the back of the house and stands there looking across the yard. It stretches 25 yards to a line of tall trees. Beyond that, land slopes gently downward to some woods. Ben's been back there once or twice, but he's never gotten very far because the ground is so soggy. Now he doesn't care if it's soggy. He just wants to go somewhere, anywhere. He slogs across the lawn and passes underneath the trees. He squeezes through the shrubs that mark the back edge of the yard and peers into the woods. It's getting darker, but he can see what looks like a very faint path, a path he's never ever noticed before. His heart beating fast, he starts down the path. The rain trickles off his hood onto his nose and seeps through the shoulders of his jacket. He doesn't care. So what if he gets soaked? He walks slowly, willing himself to calm down and stay quiet. After a few yards, his heartbeat returns to normal, and his mind stops racing quite so much. Then he stops. Did he hear something? He stands still and listens. It wasn't the rain hitting the branches overhead, or the sound of his feet scuffing the wet ground, or even his breathing. The faint noise begins again. It sounds like something calling, something living. A little shudder runs down Ben's spine, but he follows the path, moving farther away from the house. He has to fight his way through the underbrush, and twice he has to double back to find a place where his sneakers don't sink down into the muddy ground. Guided by the sounds, he pushes through to an open space that's even wetter. Thin trees stand lone and bare in several shallow pools where the raindrops are making circles upon circles on the surface. Here and there he sees green clumps of moss, but otherwise everything is brown and gray. Ben stands still. It's now completely silent again. He likes being out here by himself. It's not the desert, but he's alone and he's outside, and he doesn't mind the rain. His feet are cold and wet, but they'll get dry again. Ben listens. He shivers a little, wondering how long he can stay outside and what he'll say when he gets back in that house. It's getting darker. Then he hears it. One silvery whistle. A chirp. A peep. Ben listens harder. It's not a bird. It sounds again. And then, very close to him, another one sounds. He turns to look, but he can't see anything. The noise seems to be coming from a clump of dead grass sticking out of the marsh. It's a clear, bell-like chirp, rising in pitch. It seems out of place in this dull, gray landscape. Then something moves at his feet. Ben almost jumps out of his skin, but when he looks down, he can't see anything. A tingle goes up the back of his neck. Maybe it's a snake. Then it moves again, and Ben makes out a camouflage shape among the brown and dirty green of the earth and plants. He leans over. It's a frog. He picks it up. Ben holds the creature in his hand until it calms down. He cups it with one hand and uses the fingers of his other to hold it carefully right around the front of the back legs, like they showed him at the Desert Museum. It squirms in his hand, but Ben doesn't let go. He looks at it closely. He knows it's a frog and not a toad. Its skin is smooth and its legs are long. He has no idea what kind of frog it is. He's never seen one like this before. It's got ridges on its back and a black mask around its eyes, kind of like a bandit. The rain continues to fall. His sneakers feel heavy and squishy on his feet. Ben strokes the frog's back, wondering if this was the thing that was making that silvery chirp he had just heard. He holds the frog up to his face and looks at it closely. It just sits there. It doesn't seem to care if Ben holds him or not. Ben knows the frog is sluggish because it's cold-blooded. Like snakes or lizard, it doesn't move very fast when it's really cold. The frog flattens itself in his hand. Ben! Ben! Benny! Ben hears his father's voice calling through the growing darkness. He's singing the name like it's part of a song, and Ben can't help but smile. His father is a great joker, and it sounds like he is in a good mood. The beam from a flashlight bobs up and down in the distance, coming toward him. In the dark, it almost looks like a ghost. Ben shivers again. It's time to go back. Just as he's getting ready to plop that frog back in the puddle, Ben thinks of Mrs. Tibbets in her long gray hair and her hiking boots. He wonders what she would think of what he just found. He cradles the creature in both hands a minute longer, and then slips it into his jacket pocket. Come on, Mr. Frog, he says. Pack your bags. It's time to move. Then he calls out, coming, and plunges through the bushes and back onto the path. He finds his dad walking toward him, still wearing his office suit and his good raincoat. It seems funny to see him in the middle of a swamp in dress clothes. Hey, you goofball, his father says. Your mother sent me out here to find you. Have you noticed that it's raining? He puts his arm around Ben's shoulder and turns toward the house. I was listening, says Ben. To what, the rain? Ben guesses his father isn't going to talk to him about yelling at his mom, which is good. No, I was listening to something making a weird sound. It was like a high-pitched, peeping noise. Probably a killer snake, his father said. Dad, there's no killer snakes here. Oh, yes, there are, his father said in a serious tone that showed he was kidding. I happen to know they lie out here in the swamp behind our house. They're 8 feet long. They make this peeping sound right before they swallow boys who are dumb enough to stand out in the rain. Come on, Dad, Ben says. There's really something out there. You can hear it if you stop. Ben stops walking, and so does his father. The peeps sound faintly in the wet air. There, did you hear it? Definitely those are killer snakes, his father said. Huge ones. Ben laughed. Snakes don't make noises like that, Dad. Suit yourself, but don't blame me if one swallows you up. Your mother probably wouldn't mind. One less kid to worry about. Ben doesn't respond, and they start walking again. So, what's up with school? His father asks. Oh, it's okay, Ben says, and he puts his hand on the outside of his coat pocket and feels the shape of the frog, which is inside. Just okay, huh? Ben doesn't want to talk about school. Dad, what if you don't like your job here? Well, the good news is I do like it. But what if you didn't? Or it just didn't work out right? Would we ever move back to Tucson? No. Really? How come? Because I hate packing. No, really, Dad, how come? Ben, pal, this is our new home. We're staying here. His father pulls Ben close as they come to the backyard, but Ben slips out of his hug. He does not want to be close to him, not if they have to stay here. While everyone else is getting ready for dinner, Ben goes out in the garage and hunts around until he finds a small plastic bucket. He takes the frog out of his pocket and puts it in the bucket, and then covers it with a small window screen he finds leaning against the garage wall. I don't have a good place for you, fella, he says, squatting down for a closer look. The frog sits at the bottom of the bucket. It's not moving. Ben thinks about taking the bucket in the house, but then he changes his mind. He doesn't want to explain to Mom or have Agatha bugging him about it. And besides, he likes the idea of having something that just him and no one else knows about. He decides to leave it in the garage. He'll find a better place for it tomorrow. At least it's warmer here than outside, he says to the frog, which doesn't seem to care where he is. Ben turns off the garage light and goes inside. After dinner, Ben goes into his bedroom to do his homework, and he barely sat down when the phone rings. I'll get it, Ben yells, knocking his chair over and hurried to get to the phone. He grabs the receiver away just as Agatha picks it up. Hey, no fair, she whines, but Ben already got the phone to his ear. He covers the mouthpiece. Life's not fair, he says. She sticks out her tongue, and Ben speaks into the phone. Hello? Hey, Snake Man, says a voice on the other end. Ben laughs. Toby! Wrong, Snake Man. This is Lizard Man. Tony is talking in a creepy, croaky voice that cracks Ben up. It makes him more homesick than ever. Hi, Toby. How's Lenny? Ben asks. Oh, he's fine. He's eating stink bugs and sleeping. How's everything in Massachusetts? It stinks worse than the bugs. It's cold, it's wet, and the kids here are total idiots. Wow, that's too bad. Yeah, Ben agrees, but maybe we won't stay here for too long. Maybe we'll move back. Oh, man, that'd be great. I could sure use your help. Larry Dunstan has been bugging the heck out of me. Ugh, not him, Ben snorts. Yeah, what a turkey. They both laugh. They talk and talk until Ben's mother taps him on the shoulder. Okay, that's enough, she says. You've got homework. Mom, he pleads. It's enough for now. You can call him back in a couple days. I gotta go, Lizard Man, Ben says. Thanks for calling. I'll email you and I'll call next week, or you can call me. Okay, pal, stay in touch. Don't let those Massachusetts kids bug you. Ben hangs up the phone. He wonders how talking to Toby can make him happy and sad at the same time. He goes to the computer in the family room and he writes an email to Toby. Lizard Man, please excuse me for the monsters in Massachusetts. Only you can save me. Not please excuse me. Please rescue me from the monsters in Massachusetts. Only you can save me. Desert creatures unite. Snake Man.